Hi there, this is Lilavati Shaya, and welcome to another interview with one of the teachers of the Bright Path. And I want to take the opportunity to introduce this book, which is called Dear Teacher, and you can find it on Amazon. And it's a book that has compiled letters from modern day monks written to their teacher. You will get to see the whole picture. There's so many things we explore within consciousness. So you get to see some of the topics and the things we play with. And the letters are beautiful. So in this occasion, I have the enormous pleasure to introduce one of the teachers. She's based in England. Her name is Sumati, and she'll be joining us shortly. Hello, Sumati. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So, Sumati, whereabouts are you?
I'm in the northeast of England.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm at home at the moment. It's a beautiful sunny day here. The kids are at school, so I have a little window where I can do my thing. So here I
That must feel like, okay, a little bit, yeah, just like you say. So, if you wouldn't mind telling us, how did you find Ascension? How was it?
Ascension found me, like I'm sure many people say. I was a teenager when I learned to ascend. This was
Mhm.
a fair few years ago. Um, my mum and dad started hosting courses at home. They found, well, Ascension found them first. A
Uh-huh.
friend mentioned it,
Yes.
and they took to it. They knew that this was what they were looking for,
Mhm.
so they started ascending. I was sort of like a young teens at the time, and um, they changed. They changed from my point of view.
Right.
They became, they were just less stressed and more playful and less resistance. You know, like when you're a teenager, you kind of want that thing to fight against, don't you?
Absolutely. I can see that with my daughter.
Yeah. They kind of stopped being that, like that wall for me to hit my head against. And I met more and more people who were learning to ascend, and the teachers of ascension as well, and that's what why I ended up ascending. Like there was reasons in my own life, but really what I saw in the people that I was meeting,
Mhm.
like that playfulness and lightness, and how present they were with me. I
Mhm.
felt like really they were listening, and it may be the first people. I don't know whether it was, but it felt like the first people I was meeting who could really listen and hear. Um, so that was, yeah. At the time, it was for me just a way to help with exam stress, to help with the social stress of going through school, to sleep better, to rest. It's quite simple, really.
Fabulous. Because I remember I met you, it was a weekend that we were in Richmond in your home.
Mhm.
There were many teachers. Um, and there was a talk in the local hall.
Mhm.
And this talk was going to be given by Maharishi Krishnananda Shaya, which is the teacher of the teachers. And I remember you were there, but at the end of this talk, I saw you in shock. I saw you in shock, and then once we got back to your home, and then we gathered together and started chatting about the talk and stuff. I saw you like something was said. What was what was it? What was said that you really shook you?
Do you know what? I don't know exactly what it was off the top, but I do know that something really shifted for me. Um, I think that actually you kind of witnessed the moment where I realized this was my path.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that's what it was. I didn't recognize that, but I knew, like, suddenly, all of a sudden, I could see the next step. And it wasn't anything I'd ever expected for myself.
Mhm.
And that was a bit scary for me because it was like, oh, it was almost like I heard my heart. speak up and
Mhm.
say, this is it, this is what I need to do next. But my head had, that was not the plan.
Because I remember you were living in Australia, right?
New Zealand, yeah, New
New
Zealand.
Zealand. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yes, I had a wonderful life. I had a great job, excited to go back to see friends. I loved where I was at in life. I was ascending, um, but I didn't have a concept of it as being a path for me.
Mhm.
I didn't, I guess I didn't really know anything about a spiritual path or um, like that kind of dedication
Mhm.
until yeah, that day that you witnessed, where I suddenly knew so powerfully that I needed to. For me, it was like spend time to get really familiar with that silent space within. Like I knew it was a possibility, and I through ascension, I'd kind of touched that quiet, um, at home space that we have within us,
Mhm.
and where the mind gets stiller, and it's so instantly recognizable because it's like who we've always been, and I tasted that through practicing ascension, through going to courses, through over the years.
Mhm.
But um, it wasn't a place that I was living from. It
Right.
wasn't an ongoing experience for me.
Uh-huh.
um, and at the time I felt very, very up and down in my emotions a lot of the time, very, very like at their mercy, if you like. I couldn't see how to sort of choose beyond that to live a different way.
Mhm.
But I recognized that if I gave the time to really become familiar with stillness,
Mhm.
and for me that meant going on a longer term retreat, then I could live in that way. I could live the way I could see was possible but wasn't what I was doing.
Mhm.
uh but yeah, probably what you saw was some of the turmoil of the heart versus the head. Like, oh my goodness, this is so far from my life plan that I'd ever imagined for myself. What am I doing? But luckily, the turmoil part of it didn't last very long because the heart spoke so strongly, And again, like it's so sort of far from what most people would describe as everyday life, but it was so clear to me that that was my next step. And
Right.
I've never regretted that, you know. Thank goodness that, because my life was fine, it was good, but I needed that really permanent, like bedrock experience of stillness, of peace, to
Mhm.
live absolutely the best way that I could going forward. And that's what that choice was there for me, was, do I carry on trying this that I've been doing
Mhm.
and doing my best, or do I make a completely different choice and try something so new to me, but knowing that the right guidance, the right space for me to like just explore that still space within through eyes closed meditation, but also explore, what's my mind up to? What is it telling me?
Right.
Because we have this whole other life really with the commentary from our minds,
Right. Yes.
and so little of it is relevant or real, but
Mhm.
we live with that, at some level, subconsciously or very consciously.
Mhm.
And that was a great kind of area for me to explore and really move beyond, which I'm very, very grateful to the teaching that I received in that space. It was really life changing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sumati. And from that moment on, like now you have kids and you have a busy life. How has that changed? How is that experience within and those emotions that you were saying? How is your relationship now with those things?
I think the key thing for me now is that I have a choice. I'm not an emotionless being. I have you know what I mean?
I wouldn't stick. No.
But yeah, I have more of a choice um, about where I put my attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because that familiarity with that space, the still space within, that awareness,
Mm-hmm.
has meant that none of my life needs to be unconscious anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And we get caught up in our lives. We react to things, no problem. That happens. But as soon as we become aware, and as soon as we go, hold on a minute, I don't think this is how I want to be necessarily. Maybe not how I want to be with my kids or with my family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
I can just have a little bit of a sit back and reset. And that can happen in an instant, which is so wonderful. Um, so yeah, sometimes it's a case of having a little bit more time with the eyes closed meditation, and just for me, that's just a real great it just allows me to drop everything and
Yeah.
start completely fresh again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very restful. It feels like sometimes better than having a sleep.
It's more effective, isn't it? You kind of dive in and it's more strong.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love my sleep, but there's a different quality when I sit and close my eyes and give myself time in the day to ascend. Um, there's just like an absolute refreshing that happens.
Mm.
No matter what the quality of the ascending is like,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
we're not trying to. Thank goodness, some people. I sometimes talk to people and I say what I do, and they say, I could never meditate because I can't stop my mind.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, no,
Don't try. Don't
no.
try.
I'm like, yeah, same, and
Uh-huh.
yet, the dance of the mind and the familiarity with stillness and that ease of return is what's so magic, isn't it? You know, at any point you can just absolutely stop it all, be completely present, completely full of contentment and connection, and it's just such a big reset, which I was just so grateful for.
Absolutely. And I think many people that will be watching this interview with yourself, it's still perhaps the idea that when you come to ascension in this case, there will be no thoughts or there will be just peace or this kind of not motionless, but like somehow there's like an idea that in order to get this peace, there has to be no thoughts.
Yeah.
But that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah. I think so many of these concepts that people have come from like these amazing teachers, who have described this space of no thought and absolute peace. And sometimes we get a bit like the cart before the horse, and
Mhm.
and that's becomes the aim, to have no thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think a lot of those concepts have just become a little bit misunderstood,
Mhm.
that peace can be there and is automatically be there, whether the thoughts or not. And yet, recognizably, when you're ascending or doing an effective meditation, then as the body and the mind rest, there will be fewer thoughts. You know, Equally, we live lives in the real world. Sometimes things are going to get busier, sometimes they're going to be calmer. It's just all part of life, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly. And as you mentioned, it doesn't matter what's the experience like when you have your eyes closed, but when you open them, you see that, oh, there's more engagement, there's the creativity is there, you feel refreshed,
Mm-hmm.
then kind of ready for, okay, what's next, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
Fabulous. And well, I have probably people that will be also watching this interview. Some of them may not have a practice at all. So, would you have a message for those kind of spiritual seekers?
Um, Never having been a spiritual seeker myself,
Well, if you
it
win,
says, as a monk, Uh, yeah, I mean, I love Ascension. You know, actually don't have a great deal of experiences of other meditation practices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't, I don't feel like I can speak to many really. I've done bits and bobs, you know, like sometimes people really enjoy a little meditation after yoga. Personally don't particularly enjoy a guided meditation because I ascend and I have done for so many years. I don't feel like I need anything else. So that's me really.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds great. And then the last question would be if you have any message for people that are already in this practice, which is ascension. And ascension, what it is basically it's a course you learn four techniques in the space of a weekend. Maybe in some cases will be during the week at some time, at some point, but mostly it's done on a weekend, and you learn these four techniques. What would you give? What message would you give to these people that are already ascending?
uh, all I can say with Ascension is it it undeniably works if you let it. You know, so whatever it is, sometimes we talk with people about their highest desire. So anyone that's already learned to ascend will really recognize that. It would be a question that we would ask you in that introduction weekend that you've maybe come and learn to ascend is, what do you want beyond anything else? You know, and people will always say answers that are sort of on a theme, you know, so it's usually they know that they need more peace or calm in their life, they know they want more connection, more joy, more love, all of those things. And so it's like the thing that your heart wants beyond anything material.
Mm-hmm.
I know, and I know from the experience of those around me, that if you are dedicated to you know your heart's desire, what do you want more than anything else, ascension will bring that in the most wonderful way,
Mm-hmm.
and not always in a predictable way as I found out. But yeah, you just keep walking, you keep taking the steps, you know, a dedication to your practice is really key, you know. It's like anything, if you have a gym membership but you don't go to the gym, you're not going to get your results.
Exactly.
You have to kind of make time at some point in your day or your week to ascend. You can use the techniques with your eyes open, which really brings that life, that vibrancy back to life. I find, like, often it's, you know, we would maybe say lots of people would remember to use their ascension attitudes when things like feel hard mentally, maybe, or emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
But equally, sometimes you know, like today, I'll stand outside open the door, stand outside, and it's bright and it's glorious. And, you know, that appreciation and the wonder that that moment brings of just being outside simply, that almost like if you're using your attitudes with your eyes open, that can be stretched and maintained.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of life, no matter what the weather is, or the, you know, societal weather, or the work weather, or the family dramas, you know, the default becomes lightness, and the default becomes enjoyment no matter what, and ease and resilience, because we're not we're just not as we're not suffering in the same way, you know. And so you have the tools, basically. If you've learned to ascend, you have the tools, so use them.
Exactly. That's it. And one thing that you mentioned in the book, in the one I was just mentioning, which is a Dear Teacher book, is that your experience gets clearer, it refreshes itself. And some of those, I can't really quote everything you said, but one thing that I know is also our experience is the more you put attention into that space, once you start exploring it, it just expands and grows, and it's a natural state, as you were saying at the beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah. I do. I count myself incredibly lucky to have had really good guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, those letters, if you like, the emails that we were sending were just simply sharing in the moment what we were experiencing with this awareness practice.
Mm.
Um, I didn't really anticipate that they end up in a book.
Surprise.
Yeah. But yeah, it does. It's yeah. If you take those first steps, and seek out people who want the same thing as you, or have what you want, and you spend time with them and you learn with them and you share and you make it a priority in your life, then absolutely, I feel like consciousness just is so ready to be realized fully, and all you have to do is take the slightest step, and things immediately brighten up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I have some friends who I was just sharing with, and they only learned to ascend this year, but it's so magic hearing the changes they're noticing themselves in their own lives, in the way they are approaching life, in the noticing of their minds, or the changes in terms of a lighter outlook, more joyful, not taking things so seriously. And it's great because I'm always like exploring it with them again, because they're experiencing things for the first time and articulating it so beautifully for me.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's true because once, and actually one of the things they said was, it's almost like you forget how you used to be
Yeah.
so quickly. I mean, they really only learned to ascend about 5, 6 months ago, but they're
Wow.
forgetting how they used to be until they're reminded and go, oh wow, I used to react like that. Like that would have really sent me into a spiral, or it would have set me back a bit. I would have taken it really personally or really seriously, and I'm not anymore. And yes, that's so exciting.
That's beautiful, Samati. Thank you so much for sharing that. And well, I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I don't know. Yeah, it was great chatting with you, Lilavati.
Oh, great chatting with you as well. Thank you so much, Sumati. And well, for those people that are watching this replay, we're going to be doing more interviews with teachers all over the world. So get in touch. Let us know if you want to know more of the Shayas. There's articles on our website that you can have a look, get inspired, contact a teacher where you are. If there's no teachers in your area, still send us a message and we'll put you in touch with the right person. But just reach out. And on my side, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And Samati, thank you so much. I love you.
Oh, thanks, Lilavati. It's so good to see you.
For me too. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.